Hey there. I'm so used to introducing on my own channel, and I froze as soon as we started. So this is a great way to start this off. I'm just going to do what I normally do. Hey, internets, it's Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, but we're here on fortnerd.com for Dreadful Tales. And in this arc, we have some absolutely amazing folks arranged around us here to begin telling this particular dreadful tale. We're going to go around and we're all going to tell you who we are and where you can find us. But before we do, I want to say a huge thank you to Gary for organizing this whole thing and producing this. This is amazing, and I am excited and honored to be a part of this. I'm gonna have us go around the overlay here, introduce ourselves, and then I will, when it gets back to me, I'll tell you a little bit more about me. Why don't we go ahead and start in the upper left-hand corner with Fair?
Hi, I'm Fair, pronouns she, her. I'm a TTRPG performer who could be found on Rolling D's 20s, The Greater Restoration Crew, and Chaotic Tay Fleet ATL. Um, and yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Fairbear, and you will meet my character shortly.
Let's continue on with M.
Hello, I'm Em. I am the executive producer and a cast member on 20-Sided Stories, a TTRPG anthology comedy series. We just recorded a new season, so keep an eye out for that eventually. I am on the bi-weekly D&D 5e stream, Second Star to the Right, which is also a podcast set in the Neverland, the world of Neverland, specifically Andrew Kolb's Neverland, very good. And I am also on Fateforge Academy, which is a D&D 5e podcast about a magic school. It's wonderful, it's whimsical, and there's no transphobia, so we love that. And you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Emily Irv, that's EMILYERV. And I can't wait to have a dark, scary time with all these people.
Excellent. April.
Hi, everyone. I'm April. You can find me everywhere as April Reagan. I am the co-founder of Slady's ATL and programming manager at Gehenna Gaming. I'm doing a lot. Follow me somewhere. That's my calendar. Wow, I failed it. This is the first day.
Robo.
Oh, it's me, RoboGoblin, and you can find me at TTRPGifts on Twitter and on Twitch. And I'm really excited to be back with this awesome cast, new cast, new DM, who this, and that's me.
Fluffy.
Hi, I'm Fluffy Snowfall, pronouns she, her. You can find me on Twitter at Fluffy Snowfall. Other than the first arc of Dreadful Tales, where I played and will continue to be playing Karina Ivanova, a warlock from Barovia, same shit, different day. And I'm also the social media manager for the previously mentioned Second Star to the Right. Really nice to get to play with everyone here, and I'm super excited.
Well, that leaves me. As I said, I am Jake, or MTD Jake, from Mini Terrain Domain. The place where you can find me, Mini Terrain Domain on Twitch. On Monday nights, I run the Scribes and Scrolls, the Candlekeep Mysteries campaign, where I am honored to have Gary be a member of that, along with some other amazing people. Our other flagship show is our long-running Dawnbringers, which is now in season 6, The Wild Beyond the Witchlight. And we host a number of other games, including a monthly Call of Cthulhu Mythos Investigator's Tale. And we've recently moved over Neophet's Shadowport Adventure Star Wars games are happening on Sundays over there. So we got lots of great stuff going on. And we pride ourselves over there on being advocates for open conversations about mental health. And stay tuned, because there will be some news coming in the not too distant future about new charity fundraising events on Mini Terrain Domain in partnership with an awesome mental health organization. So All right. Cheerful introductions out of the way, because we are going to descend into the not so cheerful, gloomy mists of this dreadful tale. And what we are going to do here is we are going to watch as our camera descends through the swirling mists in various shades of gray and white. Very little seems to be changing other than occasional indications of wisps moving past, a bit of moisture buildup. And we are going to visit each of our protagonists, wherever they may be within the greater realms. I would like each of you to briefly introduce your character and tell us, what are you doing wherever it is that you may be. And this time we are going to start with Fluffy.
All right. Well, having recently completed the task in Starwallow, Corina was brought back to the demi-plane of Barovia. This time near the Druid encampment in Yesterhill. She is conveying to the circle what she saw in Starwallow, what that might mean for this place, and the fact that there are other locations through the mists, and familiarizing herself with the valley since her absence.
Robo, where are you?
Patricio, as is as Fluffy said, I also was in that group that we completed our task, and now you see Patricio uh, probably around the woods and looking for someone or something, and he is slowly getting into a town, and again he finds the nearest fountain or source of water where he can just wash his face and hands, and just takes a and takes a what was it, a grape out of his pocket and eats it, and that's where Patricia is right now.
April.
You would find Breland, having recently left the mountain area where they live, in a town, asking, kind of interviewing people, seeing if they'd seen a purple dragon recently. Just that's about it. That's all they're doing, to just kind of anyone they see.
Excellent. M.
So Sasha is in the basement of the estate of the Baron von Schweigen, and she is going through the catalog of antiquities, adding new things to the collection, making sure everything's filed properly and put away, and just generally checking over and making sure all the books are in order.
And Fair.
You find Urkira on a farm in an orc village, training outside with her brother, who is a soldier who was conscripted to the orc army. And they are just in the dust, training. Kind of, it's getting a little rough because they are siblings, but it's all in good fun.
As each of you are doing your thing wherever it is that you may be, you are visited by a raven. Patricio, as you eat this grape, you hear this cawing sound, and you see perched up on the fountain a raven looking at you curiously, something clutched in one of its talons. Karina, a raven, seemingly without fear, flies down from the treetops and lands at your feet, dropping something from its claws and sort of nudging it with its beak. Irkira, did I pronounce that right?
Yeah,
Irkira,
you got it.
as you're sort of taking a breather in between sparring, over on the weapons rack, a raven lands.
Hmm.
And Breland, as you turn to go ask somebody else to see if they can give you their attention, this raven lands in front of you, spreading its wings, just sort of not threateningly, but just in a way that it's sort of blocking your smaller form from moving forward. And Saja, for you, as you're looking through this catalog of antiquities and organizing everything, what has for a very long time been a stuffed raven on a perch, you suddenly hear it caw and it flutters its wings. In front of each of you, the raven has dropped from its claws or is nudging towards you a piece of black parchment rolled and sealed in red wax. What do you all do?
Do I recognize the insignia at all?
I think that I would like you to be the first person to roll some dice. Go ahead and just give me a history roll.
Okay, that would be a 18.
With that, you recognize there is an M emblazoned in this, or rather embossed in this wax. The M is a very stylized M, but you also notice in sort of embellishing this insignia is a set of scales. This is a combination marking. The M is the stylized mark or sigil of House Mornhill, and the scales is representative of an organization you have recently become familiar with, the judiciary of Starwallow.
I will pick up the scroll, and then before I open it, I'm going to flip through my my book of shadows and just see if there's any messages in it this time.
At the moment, there is no new messages.
All right, I'm going to take a quill and just write, "It appears to be happening again." And I'll eventually open it, but we can go to another scene.
Okay.
I think I see this scroll and I'm not used to getting messages. So I look to my brother like, is this for you? Because normally you're the one who gets summoned.
He kind of looks confused at you and, I've been summoned, but never by a raven.
Huh. What is it that you want, bird? and I snatch the scroll from the ground, but I don't open it because I don't think I recognize the marking.
I want you to make a history check too.
Okay. What is my history? Great question. Okay. Well, that's 19 on the die, but I have a -1, so 18.
That's enough for you to know that you don't know all the details of it, but you have heard of the Morn Hills as a powerful, wealthy family that often put their money behind armies that they wanted to win.
Huh.
They bankroll military actions.
This might actually be good for us. If the Morn Hills want me to help them with something, that could be good for the village.
Won't know
And then-
unless you open it.
I open it. No fear.
Who else?
So once this taxidermied raven comes to life, I'm somewhat startled, and I turn to the bird and go, "You're not supposed to do that." Wonder if the wards are getting weaker again. All right, I'll take this, but know that whatever dark magic this might be, this is probably the worst place. We're very, very well equipped for this. And with a sigh, I open the scroll.
As you open and break the seal, we'll cut over to one of the two of you.
Berlin.
I think Berlin wouldn't even think twice seeing the letter. Is this? I suppose you want it at the tip then. And, like, goes through one of the bags and like throws some food out for the raven, and it takes it and just immediately rips it open, not even paid any attention to the seal.
The raven completely ignores you opening this scroll as it eagerly takes up whatever food you threw down, and with a fluttering of wings flies away, leaving Patricio.
Patricio is washing his face and looks over and sees the raven. And again, he washes his face thoroughly now and sees the raven and turns around, and it's me. You're looking for me?
It tips its head down and sort of nudges the scroll towards you, and then just in that very
Does the-
avian way, cocking its head quickly back and forth.
Okay. And I'll just walk to it and reach for the letter. And thank you, friend. And I show this raven a grape and see if they want it.
There's
I
a
just
fluttering of
offer it.
wings, as it flutters over to your wrist, landing on it,
Yep. Okay. Here you go.
and it will take the grape from you and fly away.
Bye, friend. And I open the letter.
As each of you take this scroll, breaking the seal and opening it, you find that it has been written in silver ink. It appears to be an invitation with lots of fancy embellishments written all over it. And as you unroll it, sort of from the center and the bottom, a black ribbon with a tiny silver bell. It's attached to the scroll, but it sort of flips out, and you just hear just a slight tinkling sound as this bell rings. The invitation that you each hold says, "The Starwallow Judiciary invites you to dine at Mornhill Manor Estate, hosted by Madame Vanessa Mornhill." By reading this invitation, you have agreed to the terms of this charge. A carriage is en route to transport you to Mornhill Estates.
Well, this is terribly inconvenient. I take the parchment and I fold it up and I put it away. And I look back at the raven. Is it a taxidermy raven again, or is it still alive?
It is absolutely taxidermied once again, but
I
it is in a slightly different position.
boop it on the little beak and I go, I'm watching you. All right. And I make my ascent up the very large spiral staircase to go find that carriage that's en route for me.
Each of you that is outdoors, you find that very quickly you hear the sound of approaching hooves and the sort of rickety clatter of a carriage. For some of you, perhaps for Karina and Saja, it seems less out of place, this ornate black carriage pulled by 4 black horses with almost shiny manes. I imagine perhaps for Irkira in this location, this very ornate and fancy carriage seems a bit out of place. And Breelin, you find that your way is once again blocked as this carriage pulls up. And for each of you, the door opens.
You're
Does
gonna have to
everybody-
wait a bit. And then I go inside to get my stuff.
There is no indication from anybody within. The carriage waits.
I turn to the little half-rotten bat on my shoulder. All right, Orlok, it looks like you're going to have to ride under my cloak again. I don't know how these people will take to visiting pets. So I kind of hurry him into the shoulders of my cloak. And I'll just kind of like adjust my things, head into the carriage and start rummaging through my supplies to see if I remembered if I still had that book on courtship and etiquette, to see if I can study up before getting there.
Breeland's gonna walk underneath the carriage and like keep walking because they're less than 2 feet tall. I feel like they could probably just like duck underneath and like
absolutely.
walk a few feet, and then just kind of like watching to see what the carriage will do.
As you look back, you see from within the shadows of the carriage, you see a thin hand reach out, sort of pointing at you and beckoning towards it. Of particular note, this hand is of a violet hue and slightly scaled and taloned.
Runs right into the carriage. No second thought.
Before I leave, as the carriage pulls up, I turn to the butler at the entrance of the mansion, and I say, "Let the Baron know if he asks. I've been called out of town for a dinner engagement, but I'll send a raven if I'm going to be late."
Very well, as you wish.
Thank you, Jeeves. And I step into the carriage.
I look inside the carriage to see if anybody's sitting inside or anything. I just look.
It is an empty
Hello?
carriage.
Okay. Fine. And I'll just get in.
And I will gather my things say goodbye to all 8 of my siblings as well as my parents, and then tell them, I don't know if I'll be back for dinner. But yeah, I'll send word. I'll send word. And I get in.
As each of you enter into this carriage, you find comfortable, deep red velvet seating, red velvet curtains, and nobody else, including you, Breland. Once you enter in, there is no owner to the violet-hued scaled hand. The moment you enter into the carriage, the door closes behind you and you feel the slight lurch as it begins moving forward. You hear the sound of the 4 horses' hooves and the clattering of the wheels on cobblestone. But the sound begins to shift and almost take on a muffled sound. There is the motion of the wagon creates a swaying of the curtains, and you can see through them, either peering through the curtains or you can open up the windows to look outside. You would find that the landscape around you has begun to fade into a fogginess, a mist, if you will. But you notice very quickly that as this mist is building up, you hear this sort of sound as you feel the carriage rapidly increasing in speed and the horse's hooves thundering across the landscape. That sound is also accompanied by a bright orange flare. And as the carriage makes a slight turn, forcing you through inertia to shift to the right a little bit, the curtains part, and you can see those 4 horses, their tails and manes now alight in living flame as the 4 nightmares are drawing your carriage through the mists. How long your journey takes, you're not entirely sure. What could have been 10 minutes could just as easily have been an hour or 2. But after a bit, the bright light begins to dim down, the speed of the carriage slows, and both the wheels and the hooves and the jostling of the carriage is reminiscent of and sounds like ordinary cobblestones, as each of you feel your carriage drawing to a stop. And then the door swings open. And through the open door, you see the front door of from what you can see through this window, to be a very large stone homestead. Descending from the carriage, you find who's the first of you to exit your carriage. We'll throw it back to you for that.
Did we all arrive at the same time?
You would see if you're looking out or getting out, in either case, you would see that yes, there are other carriages that have arrived, all black carriages, all drawn by 4 black horses, and you're in sort of a circular or semicircular drive leading to this front entrance of this manor.
As soon as the carriage stops, Breland would be out of the carriage, but I need to draw how this carriage looks and figure out how it works and how did it survive the fire and how could it be pulled by nightmares and make it so fast and then not get destroyed? What are the schematics of this thing? And is trying to figure out how everything worked. So you see a little purple kobold like biting a tire, or I guess a wooden tire, to see if it's actual wood or.
Okay, so whoever gets out of their carriage next is absolutely going to see a purple kobold biting on a wagon tire.
I think I pull my feet off from the seats in front of me because, was a carriage all for me, so why not relax? I fold myself basically out of this carriage. Akira is a very tall woman. She's about 6'4". Um, so and wearing heavy plate. So the carriage absolutely sort of dips as I step out, and I see this little kobold biting at a wheel, and I just sort of cock my head, say, "Does it taste good?"
It's wood. I thought it might be something else, but it's made of wood. How does it not catch on fire?
It's a great question. I don't know much about magics, but I
Magics
have
has
to
be
assume.
magics.
Before I step out, I'm going to don my mask. Just before I step out, which is sort of somewhere in between like a plague doctor mask and a Venetian mask. It's got like the long sort of nose, and it's made out of a very dark carved wood. And so I lift up my skirts and I exit the carriage in my masked form to see this kobold chewing on a wheel and a very tall lady.
I should mention Akira doesn't wear a mask. So when you see her, it just looks like there's radiant light dripping out of her eyes down her face and then dissipating. And she's never covered it up. She's never been told to. So it's just there.
Upon seeing this and sort of recognizing a kindred spirit, Sasha's actually going to gently take the mask off. Say, well, hello. This looks like quite the interesting dinner party.
Well, I was wondering if we were here to eat wheels, but I suppose not.
You know, I think a family of this stature might have slightly more to offer than a wagon wheel. And that's, of course, that is your preferred.
I wasn't trying to eat it. I was just trying to test the surface to see the material it was made out to see if it was a magical material or not. I wasn't trying to eat the wheel. That would be ridiculous.
Of course. Sorry, how rude of me to not introduce myself.
No, it's okay. Oh, yes.
My name is Sasha, and you two are?
Hi, Breland.
Akira Stormslayer.
Oh,
Nice to meet you.
lovely to meet you as well. And you see sort of the radiant light that emanates from her as well is like almost growing because it's like sensing your radiant energy as well.
The radiance in me
sees the radiance.
Recognizes the radiance in you.
Yeah, namaste.
Yeah, it's lovely to meet you.
There are more of us. And she turns to the remaining carriages.
Oh, so you can just see that my carriage door opens and you see like this curly short black hair medium brown half elf come out, and as soon as I take a step on the stool to get inside the carriage, my boot cuts up with something, or I don't know, so I just fall down into the ground.
Oh.
We all just watch this happen.
Pardon me, are you all right?
Yeah. Hello, friends. Yeah, I'm very like this all the time. Hello.
I
And
go
get up.
over
And I dust
to
myself
pick
off.
him up by the scruff of his collar and just lift him up and put him back on his feet.
Uh,
You
Thank
all
you.
right?
yes, I am.
Yeah. And again, radiant energy against dark skin just dripping down.
I'm like, oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Are you
my
here for the
name
dinner
is-
party?
I guess I am. Is I'm not dressed for a party, so I'm sorry. This is all.
Oh, I don't know why you're apologizing to me.
Oh, you're not the one that invited us?
Absolutely not. No, I've never been to a place like this before.
Neither have I. My name is Patricio, by the way.
Akira,
Hello.
I think at
set
that
you down.
point, at that point, Karina would be coming out of her her carriage. You see average height woman, long black and red hair, wearing kind of like a black cloak over a kind of leather tattered long dress. She has orange like autumn leaves kind of in like shoulder pauldrons and bracelets and kind of like adorning all parts of her outfit. And there is dangling from her belt a kind of a bundle of animal skulls. So like an owl, a rat, rabbit, that kind of thing. You see her like straightening herself out and kind of muttering something to herself. She's like starting to try and clean off like layers of dirt and dust that are on her attire.
As soon as I see you, I just go, Corina?
Patricio?
Corina, let me help you get down. And I just
I-
offer my arm so you get down to the carriage.
I will awkwardly take it and kind of like step down off the carriage. I was not expecting to see you.
I was not expecting to see you. How you been? How long has it been?
I don't really think it's been that long.
You
Honestly,
two
I
know
feel-
each other?
Apparently, yes. Oh, hello.
Hello?
Oh, hello. Sorry. Are you the only two here that know each other?
I don't know.
I don't know any of you. I'm sorry.
We a little while ago, I was in the city of Starwallow with a group summoned by the judiciary. We had to go find a book in a scary catacomb. Are the others here, Patricio?
I don't see anybody else.
I think we're the only ones. There's only 5 carriages.
In that case, it sounds like it's dinner time. And
I guess so.
Sasha, like, very quickly bolts up to the door and gives it a knock, knock, knock.
As you reach up to knock on the door, this large set of double ornate heavy oak doors just swings open, and you find that there are actually several individuals, 12 to be exact, 6 on either side in this entryway. All of them are wearing very almost like a collarless tuxedo type adornment, with sort of like a bow tie, but there's a blood red gemstone at the throat of each of them. They are all pale skinned elven Shatterkai individuals that flank and stand at attention as the door opens before you, Sasha.
I turn back to the group and say, well, it looks like we've got a party here to receive us.
Yes. Hi, by the way, I never got your names. I'm Karina.
Oh, yes. Hello, I'm Sasha.
Akira.
Nice to meet you.
My name
Great,
is
great name.
Patricio. Hello, little friend.
Hi, hello. How are? Have you seen a purple dragon by any chance?
Not in my lifetime.
Okay, thank you.
They come in purple?
Yes, they've just been sleeping for a while. People thought they were extinct, but they've just been asleep. But should we be concerned of the people in the hallway? They don't
Right.
look the most welcoming.
Is this normal
Uh,
for a dinner party?
I
Well-
don't know. I've never been invited to one.
Me neither.
I
It's
looked at
not-
Saja because she seems to be the most fancy.
I am. Well, it's not abnormal for a dinner party here. But it is odd that, and I turn back to them, that none of them have said any words of greetings to us. Hello.
Aren't they supposed to, like, open carriage doors and whatnot for people, or is that just fairy
No,
tale?
No, you're right, actually. It is awfully strange that we had to open our own carriage doors. But perhaps they're short-staffed because all of their valets and butlers are in matching outfits standing right here.
It doesn't actually surprise me considering the letter that we got didn't really give an option. Well, that I got anyway. Didn't really give me an option to say yes or no. It just said that I agreed to terms, but there were no terms in the letter.
That happened to us last time as well.
Yep, it was a lot of trouble.
And also just having it at the bottom as like a fine print, so you're automatically trapped in a contract before you know it.
What
That's
if you
exactly
couldn't
what
read?
happened.
Would you still be stuck in the contract?
That's a great question.
It is a good question.
It is a good question.
It is a very good question.
Are you going to answer any of our questions? Or
As you say that, at the head of these two rows of Shatterkai, another Shatterkai steps forward, and he looks old by every standard, especially for a Shatterkai. To see an elf that bears the signs of aging like this is unusual. Yes, I am here to greet you and welcome you to the Mornhill Estates. Thank you for accepting our invitations.
well, we simply didn't have a choice. But
Right.
thank you for the
Correct.
warm welcome.
Again, fine print just at the bottom, so I don't even know what I'm getting myself into. And then there's a carriage at my door.
What
Yes.
part of the city is this?
Mornhill. Please, the table has been set, and Madame Mornhill will be joining you shortly. Do come in out of the cold. And he motions you forward, waiting for all of you to enter.
I enter and I take off my coat, which is a long black fur-trimmed leather duster, and I hand it to him and I walk past it.
I follow behind her and I just shove like my pack into his arms and keep going inside.
Freeland watches to make sure they survive this encounter, and then follows in after them, but does not hand over any of their stuff.
I won't hand over anything as well.
Yeah, me neither. I just go in and I'm not dressed for this, Corina.
You didn't really have much of a choice. As you're saying this, she's prestidigitating like as much dust and dirt as she can off her attire.
The elder Shatterkai seems a bit surprised to suddenly have these items foisted upon him, but he takes them. And as you turn, as you all continue on, there is a large set of doors that actually slide inward by a couple more of the Shatterkai attendants and lead into a grand dining area. He just takes these items and hands them off to one of the other attendants.
Oi,
Scurries off
lose
into the
those.
courtroom.
you lose those and I'll have your head.
Very good. Please make yourself comfortable. There is no need to wait. You may begin enjoying your meal. And you are all led into this ornate dining room with a massive fireplace burning brightly, filling the room with warm light. And there is a vast array of foods laid out across this table, a veritable feast to appeal to many palates. In fact, should you scan for a particular regional dish, you are highly likely to find something familiar to you. But you are given your choice of where to sit at the table and told to begin eating. What do you all do?
I absolutely go and sit at the head of the table. I don't have any sort of etiquette, so I don't know if this is, unwise or not. And I just look around and say, he said that we don't have to wait to eat. Is that normal? I would never wait for somebody else to start eating.
This has to be a trap, right? Strangers don't just offer you free food like this every day.
Not really.
Normally, it
No.
would be impolite to not eat when you've been told to, but something about this whole scenario has me feeling not in the least bit hungry.
And you all turn to look at Patricia, and Patricia's already eating something. And, excuse me?
Is it poisoned?
We all watch Patricio for 30 seconds.
I don't know.
We just
Well, I
like,
guess we'll find out.
Start prepping cure wounds just in case.
Patricio,
Oh
make a
no!
Constitution saving throw.
Oh my god! Patricia, Constitution saving throw. That's a 5.
Oh no.
There's this moment where you all look at Patricio, who has just stopped chewing, holding on to this piece of food. Everybody's looking at you, everybody else. And you suddenly feel a bit of a rumble in your tummy, Patricio. And a belch escapes unbidden from your stomach and throat.
Excuse me.
But otherwise, the food is delicious.
It's pretty good, though.
Suppose it wouldn't make much sense for them to poison us.
I guess.
Could be
I mean-
another fine print if whoever eats this food has to perform such and such quest.
That's
Good
true.
point.
Perhaps we should wait. Patricio, good luck.
Have fun on your quest.
Thank you.
I sit at the left hand of Akiria if she's at the head of the table.
I'll sit across from Saja.
Brilliant has switched chairs like 3 times.
Of course. Akira, which head of the table did you sit at? When you entered the room, the very first chair, or would you have walked all the way around to the other side to that head of
Oh.
the table?
Good question. Probably just the first one that I saw.
Okay.
Or I assume they both look equally as ornate.
They do. All of the chairs are identical, and the food is laden across and the place settings are such that there's nothing to indicate a hierarchy to the seating that you've been able to see.
Okay.
And I think even Saja, who this sort of decorum is probably most familiar to you, there does not appear to be any indication of a hierarchy or anything like that. I would say probably the oddest thing for anybody attuned to these sort of the word is escaping me now, rituals, if I guess, or types of dinners or whatever, is that rather than things being brought out in courses, all courses are presented on the table simultaneously. As I said, a vast array of food. There's also drink. There are containers of decanted wine, flagons of ale. There are a variety of flavored teas and hot drinks as well, being kept warm with little candle flames burning beneath them. As I understand it, Patricio is the only one who has taken to eating. The rest of you are not eating.
As soon as
Correct.
Patricio survived, Breland would have started eating.
Okay, so Breland's eating as well.
I'm swirling the decanted wine and sniffing it to see if it's a good vintage.
I'm like looking at all the foods. I am getting hungry. And I just say, is it normal for them to have it in a spread like this? You know, out in the country, we call this a buffet.
I usually do not.
fancy.
I usually do not see this much food for 5 people.
No, nor is it usually put out all at the same time in this tempting feast-like array.
It's almost like, you know, you can just grab your plate and just go down the line and, you know, serve yourself.
It is
That's not
odd.
normal.
No, for a dinner invite that was surrounded with so much decorum, this is strange.
And shouldn't you normally eat food all together at a dinner party?
Now that much I don't know. I usually eat when I want to.
I've never seen so many foods here, so I'll just take. Can I have one of those ribs?
Oh
you
yeah,
got?
here you go. There you go.
Thank you.
Do they have ribs? Oh,
It seems like a golden
I-
opportunity to corral us into wherever they want.
I agree. Can you pass the crab legs?
Oh, here.
Thank
Breland
you.
has actually gotten up, and that's why she keeps changing seats as she like gets up and puts some more food on her plate and walks to another chair and then puts more in.
Akira is like getting the foods that she recognizes, but also like if there's something that looks like it's, you know, maybe a little too rich for her blood, she'll, you know, take a little bit to try, you know. My family, sometimes we can't afford some of this stuff, so
That's caviar right there. The little black moles.
I have I have a bowl of it.
Sure. And
So
question for
just-
the
oh,
question for
yes.
the DM: would I like know of this family, being that they are somewhat wealthy in the area?
I think that you would have heard the name Mornhill, but they are definitely not of your area.
Okay.
In fact, anybody who has attempted to, or I think Saja, in your case, with sort of this knowledge that you have, any attempt to even think about where the Mornhills originate from, you just sort of find your thoughts wandering to other things. You haven't seen anything written down or anything to indicate where exactly is Mornhill.
You know, it's
And
strange.
By the way, the wine is an absolutely incredible vintage from not only hundreds of years before, but the previous era.
I pour myself a glass. I don't drink it yet. And I say, you know, it's strange. I know most of the well-to-do families here and thereabouts, but I can't quite put my finger on who these Mornhills are.
The only thing I know about them is that they put their money into military power.
I've done some reading and exploring, and I've seen their names in various ledgers and tomes, but I have never really interacted with them before. The valley I'm from is very insular.
Karina and Patricio, I would like you to make a perception check. And I would like you both to do so with advantage.
This soup is very odd, by the way. These little black beads.
Oh, here. And I scoop the caviar onto a tiny little pancake, and I hand it to her. I'm like, try it this way.
Oh, okay. And I'll try it. Yeah.
That's a 19 perception.
23.
In this ornate dining area above the fireplace, there's a painting that is very large, a very large canvas, like something you would normally see in a museum. We're talking like this thing is probably 6 feet high and almost 12 feet across, and it depicts a military unit. You see many people that are standing around in they're in armor. They have various armaments, axes, morning stars, great swords. The armor is, of course, everybody looks to be posed for this painting, but you see kind of around their feet and behind them are countless bodies of their fallen foes. Karina and Patricio, you recognize to the far left of this military group, there is a particular individual who stands out to you because his face is a red metallic color, and he is the cleric of this group. You absolutely recognize
Concord.
Concord. Yes.
Okay. I'll just Corina.
I
Is that-
see it. Yes, I think it is.
Is that Concord?
I believe it is.
You know one of those people up there.
Apparently,
We knew
Well,
them.
the last time we were here.
Here in this manor.
No,
No.
this. What is the easiest way to explain this?
From the beginning.
Detail.
So, a little bit of time ago, we all, Patricio, myself, and 3 others, a man named Dr. Cornelius, a metal man called Concord, who is in that painting, and a drow woman named Thea. We were summoned by the judiciary of Starwallow to delve into the old abandoned library to find a sacred tome. The city of Starwallow constantly changes itself. There will be times where it's completely destroyed and rebuilt. I don't know how long it is in between cycles. But during that cycle, we went down, we grabbed the book. A tortured angel was freed, and we escaped. After we returned the book, we were told we could go on our way.
And then you get summoned again.
We did get summoned again, yes.
I hate to break it to you, but it sounds like you've been cursed.
I'm used to
Yep.
it.
I am cursed.
Oh, does that mean I'm cursed now?
I think perhaps we're on our way to being cursed, at the very least.
Could
Well,
this
that was
potentially
not in the
maybe
terms of service.
No.
That's how they get you.
maybe your friend lives here?
Maybe.
If there's pictures of them, maybe they live here.
Concord!
Maybe he stayed behind. I don't
Actually,
know.
Can I look at the painting a little bit closer? With my sort of art appraisal background, I want to know when this was painted, approximately.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead and I guess that would be a history check. But yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and see what you can figure out.
That's an 18.
You can tell, while you're not familiar with this specific artist or work, you know paintings and you know ways to sort of tell by stylistically as well as pigments used and things like that. You can sort of assess generally sort of a period or when you get the sense that this painting is at least 300 years old.
Is your friend Concord over 300 years old?
I wouldn't know. They
I
were
do not believe so.
metallic.
DM, can I use my background? So I have the archaeologist background, and one of the features is you can determine the monetary value of art objects more than a century old. I would like to kind of use that background and kind of gauge like the age of the painting based off that.
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of see that based on the fact that you're both looking closely at this. You've sort of gotten up from the table, and Saja, you're sort of on one side getting in where you can see the bottom edge of this where it's up above the fireplace, and Karina, you move in, and kind of it's interesting because of the ambient light of the fire. It creates a unique way in which you can see the lighting, you can see the textures, and the flames, the light of the flames almost creates movement within this art piece. You almost get the sense as you're looking at it, the figures are shifting slightly. It even makes, from your vantage point, because the painting is hung up like this, you can see along the foreground and fading into the background, the dead bodies of their slain enemies. They even seem to be moving slightly. It's as if the pools of blood are still fresh and moving. But that said, Karina, you know that this painting is the painting itself is 350 years old, and you don't know how old the depiction of the painting is, or rather what it depicts. As the two of you are analyzing this painting, Yakira, you hear a sound behind you, a slight shuffling of feet on the floor, and a little bit of sort of a squeaking sound, very subtle. And Berlin and Patricio, who are sort of seated on the sides, you see that Elder Shatterkai enter, pushing a wheelchair with an elven woman who is herself appears to be quite aged, though she still has raven black hair falling down. She wears, of what you can see of it, is a very ornate gown of black and violet with silver. In fact, you can tell this is mithril that is sort of woven in and highlighting aspects of it, particularly across the chest piece. And that she has, looking almost out of place, a sort of worn, almost ratty looking flannel blanket draped across her lap, covering her legs as she is wheeled into the room. Ah, yes, I see some of you are making yourselves right at home, and I trust you're finding the meal to your liking.
This whole time they've been examining this painting, I've been carving a roast beef with my long sword and serving Berlin. And I sort of just stop as she enters, say, I mean, the food's pretty decent, yeah.
Good evening, milady. Thank you for inviting us to this sumptuous feast. I think we're all a little bit anxious to know why we've been summoned. And I give her a slight respectful bow.
I will
She-
mimic.
She gives you that sort of head nod. That's the head nod of acknowledgement, like she's receiving your bow. As the elder Shatterkai sort of wheels her around the table to the other head of the table, and then he removes the chair that's sitting there and pushes her wheelchair up, and then moves to stand off to the side. I do hope that you will forgive me not greeting you when you arrived. I wanted to know better who my guests were this evening, and I find the best way to get the measure of someone is to put them into a social situation where they only have each other to talk to. You know each other a little better now, I see. But
Some
this
of us
question-
were really actually acquainted previously.
Yes, I am aware of yours and Patricio's previous interactions.
How many cities has it been since then?
The iterations have grown almost immeasurable. I stopped counting after the 100th. It has been both very little time and a long time here in Starwallow. Please, I hope that I can assuage any fears of poisoning you. The food is perfectly safe. And I hope, and she kind of looks at you, Saja, that you will forgive the impropriety of decorum, serving everything all at once. But our time is rather limited this evening. Understand, it was not I who summoned you here, but it was I who decided it was best to greet you in a manner befitting who you are or who you might be. All of you have been summoned by the judiciary of Starwallow and are charged with a task. As Karina has already mentioned, many iterations ago, the grimoire was retrieved. Even now, the wheels of fate continue to turn, and we have learned that it is time for a new charge. And that is why you are all brought here. The judiciary is charging you with finding the horn of fate.
And what, pray tell, is this Horn of Fate? Have I heard of the Horn of Fate? I'm still going to ask her.
I would say that well, I'm gonna go ahead. Anybody that wants to know, go ahead and make a history roll. We'll see if you've heard of this.
Natural
6
20.
Never mind. Ignore my 16.
Ignore my 7.
18 for 24.
24. And what is your natural 20 plus
Plus 4.
plus 4? So a 24 also with a natural 20. For both of you, the Horn of Fate is something you have heard of. And contextually, you have only ever heard of it in legends and often in lost lore pertaining to an age long gone. You don't quite know what it is, just that it is something considered to be worthy of legends and tales. I would sort of put it in the I guess contextually in the same vein as like the Holy Grail, something that armies and countries in tales so old their legend sent out. Battles were fought over these things. The time is such that the protections that have been in the glade where the Tree of Fate resides are weakened or gone, allowing select individuals to enter this glade, thus making it likely you will be able to retrieve the Horn of Fate.
And exactly who are we retrieving this horn for? And why? I don't know much about it, but Horn of Fate sounds pretty important. Why are they worthy of having it?
Worthiness does not play into this in any fashion. The judiciary has seen a need for this. The first artifact, long ago, the grimoire, was retrieved. The next artifact, the Horn of Fate, has made itself available through the iterations. Beyond that, I am unaware.
So you are. Oh, go ahead.
If they could find us from a bunch of places and bring us, why can't they go get it?
Good
Question.
You were chosen by the judiciary, an entity or group of entities in a governing body of which I have a close proximation with, but do not specifically control, nor, much to my chagrin, have I ever been able to influence them. You were chosen because of who you are and what your potential is. You have what it takes, as they say, to be able to navigate the difficulties of this land that we find ourselves in. You will be challenged, we'll be sure of that. You will be challenged of mind. You will be challenged of spirit and will. And I dare say you will be challenged physically.
Respectfully, the judiciary should be aware, since it seems to be very aware of all of our personal details, that I don't procure objects for anybody but the Baron. I'm in his employ, and my price is astronomical.
There is no price that is too great to pay for the retrieval of such artifacts, and I can assure you that the Baron will not even be aware of your absence.
What does the judiciary plan on doing with this horn?
That is something that is, I believe the term is, above your pay grade. The judiciary has been working through and understanding fate as it is woven into the great tapestry for time immeasurable. We are but single threads or brief images appearing within that tapestry. You'll have your place to fulfill in the greater picture.
Speaking of pictures, do you know that person right there? And I point to Concord.
Ah, yes. That painting was done long ago to honor some of the greatest military leaders under the Mornhill banner. Concord. Well, let's say that if it weren't for Concord, some of the military's victories may well not have been.
I feel that Concord helped us a lot. In fact, I'm probably standing here because of Concord and Corina.
Many of us are.
Also, this is a
Now-
pretty good gravy. May I have more, Berlin?
Yeah.
Fill
yeah, sorry.
yourself to your heart's desire. I will answer any other questions you might have to the best of my ability, but know this. There is no question of whether or not you will participate in this venture. You have all read the invitation and you have all rung the bell.
Yeah, I have something to say about that actually, because when I opened the letter, the bell just sort of rang on its own. I didn't really have much of a choice. And then I read this letter in all the fine prints at the bottom. I didn't have a choice, really.
Who made you open the letter?
Well,
Crow.
no one did. But I mean, it's not like I knew there was going to be a bell inside. Was it?
When you go into a battle, do you know if you will live or die?
No, but usually you choose whether or not you go into that battle.
Right.
As you chose whether or not to open the letter that was presented before you.
We can debate the semantics of this all you want, but it is a cheap trick, and I'm sure you're aware of that.
It's not
What
just
if
a
you
trick,
couldn't read?
It's a trap. Yeah. What if you couldn't read? Would then you still be bound to the terms of the letter?
The fine print was not the binding contract. The ringing of the bell is what both bound you and brought you
So-
here.
So yes,
if
if you
the-
could not read, they
Yeah,
would just
so-
take you.
Here's the thing. If the wind rings the bell, then I'm stuck in a contract that I did not agree to.
The
You see what
could
I'm
not ring
saying?
the bell if you didn't open the letter. As
But I did not
Saja
know
has
there
said,
was a
Oh, what
But
if
I
you
did not
opened it
know there was a-
underwater?
yeah. But also, how was I to know there was a bell inside? It's entrapment.
that is something you can take up with the judiciary
You know
when
what?
you
I think I
either
will.
succeed or fail at your task. One way or
Wait,
the
there-
other, you will face the judge.
I feel like we should write out all of our concerns to take to the judiciary.
Right. Yeah. We should have a list of concerns and then perhaps a list of demands in case we need to go on strike.
Agreed.
The
The Baron will be
complicated-
hearing about this.
The complicated thing of this is that you will not be able to go home until the task is finished.
See, again, entrapment, right? Because again, I open a letter. I don't expect a bell to be inside the letter. And then the bell rings as I open it. I didn't ring the bell.
Karina,
Be
Of-
Yes.
thankful it wasn't glitter.
of all your compatriots that were summoned the last time, how many perished?
None.
All right, well, there's some small comfort in that.
Do we at least get gear, magical items, and any kind of help? You have magical
Oh,
ringing bells. You
Money,
things that help
something.
us.
They didn't offer money until it was done.
Well, okay,
Oh.
not money, but if you had like
Yeah. Do you have
magic bags, potions, things of that nature.
Yeah, because
I'll-
if I thought I was just coming to just a normal dinner party, see, luckily I don't leave home without my sword. But if I were the type to do so, and you summon me here to do a task, and I don't have any weapons on me, you see what I'm saying?
I'll DM while this is going on, I'll pull the wand of smiles out of my things and I'll give it to Brillin. There's this if you want it.
What to do?
It makes people smile.
She looks at the wand. She looks at the host. Just
I
stands
found it in a
there.
bag of blood.
It's sniffs the wand to see if it still smells like blood.
Yeah, probably does.
A little bit.
Thank you. Hold on. And Breland prestidigitation some more dust off of the bottom of your cloak that you didn't see. I can help.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
As I said, time draws short. You can debate the finer points of labor unions and organization and the letters of the law as much as you want, or you can fill yourself with this food and energize yourself for the task to come. You will perhaps find things of value and things to assist you along the way. I am merely an impartial party who decided to make it a little bit better than standing before a magistrate. And to be truthful, looking over at Patricio and Karina, I despise taverns.
This is a better situation than we had last time.
Oh,
So
for
I will
sure.
give her credit for that.
Do you have to-go bags by any chance?
Breland's shoving food in their bag. I do have a question, Dungeon Master. I didn't want to interrupt you, but could I have insight checked about them not being able to have any influence?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Nope, no
Golden
influence, not at all. They don't. They are telling the exact truth. I rolled a natural one. I 100% believe
Oh,
everything.
no.
they
Oh
told
my
us.
god.
Oh no.
I'm here for
Wait.
this mission.
Aren't you lucky as a kobold?
Nope, that's
Mm-mm.
halflings.
Oh, okay.
I'm sunlight sensitive as a kobold.
Oh no.
I would like everybody to roll me a d20. And yeah, just straight up d20.
Well, that's a 4. A big hearty 4.
That's a 17.
Got a 19.
A 3 for me.
11.
Fair and April, what did the two of you have?
19.
4.
Okay. Breland,
Oh no.
you notice around this point that as Patricio you've handed him this gravy boat, and he's happily pouring gravy across this food. You notice that the gravy seems to thicken and starts coming out in clumps, thump, thump, sort of slopping onto the plate. And you look over at Saja, who I don't know if you've taken a drink or eaten anything yet, but you've got this glass of wine that you've sort of swirled around and checked its vintage. And you notice that the wine seems to have really clung to the glass and moves very thickly within this glass. Akira, you see Akira taking a piece of this roast and has a well, you mentioned you were carving it with your long sword, so I just imagine you have this big piece of roast on your sword and you're kind of leaning forward. You see Akira leaning forward to take a bite of this roast, and that's when you see the maggots crawling across it. Do you say anything or do anything as you start to see all of this?
Yeah.
When was
yes.
this meal prepared?
I think Breland would be like, I don't normally see this amount of bugs on food at fancy
Oh.
places. Is that not normal?
Oh, what the fuck? It didn't look like that 2 seconds ago.
You, with it that close
What?
to your face, you smell that rancid meat
Oh.
smell. And all of you begin to notice that there are insects crawling across the foods, that what was fresh fruit and vegetables is rapidly decaying in front of you.
I would stop eating now if I were you.
Yeah, I
Uh,
just like fling the roast off my sword across the room.
As you do that and it flies across the room, it hits the wall, and you see a section where there's this ornate decorative wallpaper begins to curl upwards and is peeling away. Saja, you notice the painting above the fireplace, that there's dark spots of mildew forming on it and beginning to spread across it.
You know
You
what?
you all hear the sounds of heavy timbers and wood groaning under the weight above your heads. The sound of a house that is shifting, perhaps in the wind or whatever. It's just that sort of old house sound. You can begin to hear these sort of pops and cracks and creaks all around you.
I think we've stayed perfectly long enough, and I think we should really be going.
Plaster
Where's my
begins falling off the roof.
Where's my shit?
With the butler. Hold on, I'll chase him down.
In a spare bedroom somewhere.
Yeah,
You
where the coats are.
you begin to rise up and you look over at the Lady Mornhill, Madame Mornhill, and you see that there is a desiccated corpse sitting in the wheelchair where she was. There is
shit.
a pile of bones in the corner where the elder Shatterkai was. Irkira running out into the hallway where the 6 Shatterkai attendants were, and at other stations around doors, you see either the desiccated husks of bodies or skeletal remains lying around, as all of the wood has what was ornate oiled wood, banisters and such, has taken on this sort of gray pallor. There's cobwebs everywhere. The ceiling is cracking. The chandelier above is swaying, and you can hear as the wood above it begins to rot, this chandelier kind of lurching like it's going to fall at any moment. This mansion is literally rotting around you.
Hey DM, before we skedaddle out of here, I've seen Karina's whole look. I would like to go and take the skull of Lady Mornhill from the pile and give it to Karina, if that's okay.
I wanted
Okay.
I wanted to loot her body.
Sure.
Oh,
For you. I figured maybe you would like a memento.
that actually is appreciated. Thank you.
Also, maybe if we don't have a head, she can't regenerate and do this to other people again.
Well, aren't there people, if you have a head, you could talk to it later? So if we took
There
her
are
head, we
ways,
could maybe eventually
yes.
someone talk to them later.
Perhaps this could be used as like I don't know, some sort of
These are all wonderful
divination.
ideas. We should probably go and
Yes.
discuss this outside.
Do we find our stuff?
You head out of the dining hall. As you all get up and start moving out, you hand Karina this skull, and you hear this loud crash as the table legs rot out from under, and the surface of the table scatters, and the rapidly decomposed food just goes everywhere. You turn into the hallway. Just as you step into the hallway, the chandelier crashes to the floor in front of you, sending shards of metal and glass flying, not enough to do damage to you. You can attempt to look for your stuff within this falling place, or you can make a beeline for the door.
As before we get out of the room, I'm just gonna look at the food that's on the table, and I see the maggots around a piece of pie, and damn, that really looks so good. Corina, shall we go?
Oh my god.
Probably.
I'm gonna go look for my stuff real quick. Is that what, an investigation?
Yes,
Perception?
that will be investigation at disadvantage.
I
Wait,
would
if
like
I
to
come and help, yeah, if I come help because my
That'll
stuff is
level
with her
out.
stuff. Okay.
Yep.
Okay,
Great.
great. So
I would also like
rolled-
to cast guidance.
okay,
Okay.
great. D4.
Freeland is stealing
Okay,
the silverware off the
so-
table.
I got a 22.
You quickly move through where literal door frames are falling off. You see across the hall, there's a room that appeared to be some sort of study. And all across the wall, there are mounted trophies, but all of them are the decayed husk of whatever creature was originally there. And you find the remnants of a chair, a wingback chair, that has all of your stuff unceremoniously thrown on it. At this point, your bags with your stuff in it, Irkira, is lying on top of Saja's jacket, which is in a just in mostly covered in dust and rubble. But you do find it.
Okay, great. I snatch it all and then run out.
We cut to an exterior shot as the whole of Mornhill Manor is crumbling in upon itself. It's almost this high angle shot as just and where the front door was, there's just this sudden rush of dust and debris, and we see the five of you stumbling out into what remains of this circular cobblestone drive. No sign of the carriages or the horses. All of you covered in dust and blinking. And as the dust begins to settle, you see you are standing atop a hill. It has the appearance of early morning or late afternoon, but it is really hard to tell. It's like feels like a November day. The snow is about to come. There's very low clouds and a light mist hanging around in the areas. You see that this hill is mostly surrounded by forest. And you see just down off to the right, you see that there is I'm saying right and I'm pointing to my left. I'm dyslexic. Let me try that again. To the left, you see that there is some deciduous trees devoid of leaves that are like skeletal hands reaching up into the gray, cloudy sky. And then you see some evergreens and other trees behind them, and some semblance of a pathway. And off to the right, you see the remnants of what looks to be a very old cemetery with several large monuments. What would you all like to do?
I would like to say the rich do not know how to throw a proper party.
Well, that was one way to get rid of party guests.
That was new.
Yes.
I
Well,
really wanted some dessert, but this is fine, I guess.
I'll pull out an apple and give that to Patricio.
Corina, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Does
DM, question
Yes.
for you. Since I said I threw food in my bag
Oh no.
before this
Oh, no.
started, is it just liquid goo or is it in a state of decay? And has it stopped decaying more now that we're outside?
Looking in your bag, you would find it just has that look. It's not even liquid goo. It's more dust. It has that look of if you left food not just for days, weeks, or months, but for years and years. It just gets to the point where no moisture is even in it. Whatever food anybody might have grabbed off the tables has decayed, rotted into nothingness or this dust.
You know, she just had to say that they don't do to-go bags.
I pull out like a petrified piece of something and hit it against it's rock.
Oh, I'm sorry. Would you like some apple?
Oh no, I just wanted to see what would happen if I brought it outside.
Oh,
If
okay.
it would stop. Or if this was something I could maybe reverse.
Considering I didn't eat anything, I'm going to nibble on some of my rations.
Oh, how do we feel after eating? Did it like speed
Mm.
rot inside of us?
No ill effects. You ate
Okay,
the
good.
food.
Look, that's a
Oh.
legitimate concern, people.
No, it is.
No, it
No, it
is.
is. It is.
I got
mean-
very scared.
Yeah, no, for no, it's like, oh great, we've already fucked ourselves. Eating this food.
You're right. We eat the food, we get stuck on an adventure.
Yeah. I think we were stuck on an adventure either way.
Okay.
Yes.
So since you two have done this before, what's the next step?
Stumble around until we find someone who can help.
Yes.
She mentioned a grove. So
There was a
possibly in the
forest.
forest.
There was a forest the last time, but that was apparently a long time ago now.
What about that creepy cemetery? Have you done that before?
No, that is
Oh.
new. I'm also going to lift up the shoulder of my cloak, and you all see a like half decomposed bat crawling out from underneath and like kind of
Did the
stretching on her
house-
shoulder.
Did the house do that?
No, that is how Orlok always has been.
Hello,
Oh,
Orlok.
all right.
Oh, he's kind of cute.
Little bat chirps.
Oh, well, now the bat has a friend, and I point to Lady Mornhill's head.
I was probably going to put some bedding in it for him.
Oh,
Perfect.
So thank you.
Here, Braylon pulls out like just spare fabric that they've scavenged from something and hands it to you.
I'll stuff the skull with some fabric and
That
put it in my little like side bag for Orlok to nest in.
Karina,
that is so metal.
Mhm.
roll me a D100.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you guide yourself?
Not on 100.
No.
69. Nice.
Nice.
Nice, nice. Let's see. Shit, that's the right thing. Just check. Bear with me one moment. Okay. You are, because you have Lady Mornhill's skull, you can use this as a single use item. It will,
Okay.
when you use it, you will be able to sprout spectral dragon wings and fly for 1 minute.
Don't tell Brillin.
So cool.
That major boon is brought to you both by Irkira giving you the skull and Spinning Fate, Boons and Banes, written by our own Gary. I like to incorporate that into games. So, and I'm going to give you a point of inspiration, Fair, for taking the skull and giving it to her.
Oh, thank you.
Also, a quick meta note about inspiration. I am absolutely terrible about remembering to give inspiration. I listen to my players if players think somebody should have gotten inspiration because of a particularly cool thing, whatever the many reasons. So don't be afraid to speak up if you think somebody else should gain inspiration for something they said or did or whatever. So, and Gary's not running this game, so there's no such thing as negative inspiration for this one.
Oh, perfect. Now he can't take away the 2 that he gave me before.
So you stand here with the choice of the forest or the cemetery before you.
I know she said grove, but I really, really want to know what's in this cemetery.
So do
Mm,
I.
Sounds like famous last words to me, but whatever.
Well, if we
Cool.
die here, at least it's convenient. They don't have to take us far.
At
To
least
be
cemetery
fair-
things wouldn't drop down from us from trees.
To be fair,
Also
where there
true.
is danger, there's often things to discover.
Very astute. I agree.
Sure.
Probably stuff in the cemetery.
Who
Yeah,
was
they're like-
famous?
All
There's
the
like-
items that they refuse to give us are in the cemetery.
Probably. Are there like
I'm not using it.
mausoleums as well as like headstones, DM?
There is a singular mausoleum.
Hmm.
You go in there for sure.
I just have to know it's in there.
Then the safest option, cemetery, it sounds like, is what we should do.
Mm-hmm.
Of course. And I go just to whisper Brillin. Is it Brillin or Brylin?
It's whichever you prefer. I
Oh,
kind of
well,
borrowed the name off of a
Robo
book.
was asking April.
Oh, okay. It's Breland.
Brillin. Okay. Who was famous and what were those last words?
What?
Because we're curious, famous last words and who was famous?
Maybe they're famous. Is she
They're famous. They were famous.
That's why they said the last words.
Yes.
Okay. That makes 100% sense. This is so cool.
Right. I know. Let's go.
Okay.
Cemetery.
So you head down the hill towards the cemetery. As you draw closer into the cemetery, there's no wrought iron fence or gate around the cemetery. It's defined merely by the presence of the mausoleum, and sort of grouped all around it are all of these tombstones of various sizes. They are old enough that what was perhaps once white marble has taken on very strong, heavy weathering, and there's green and black sort of mold, algae, whatever have you. Weather has worn away any names on these. All of these tombstones, even the simplest of them, are unique shapes and sizes, various Gothic stylings, various symbols of the pantheon of various gods you might recognize, perhaps an inordinate or ordinate for the realm in which you find yourself. A large number of stylized raven iconography is on all of these tombstones arrayed around. Several of them also seem to represent or hold statuary or symbols of military organizations or military figures. But there is a clear path moving through all of these tombstones leading towards the mausoleum, if that is your destination. Saja, are you leading the way then to this mausoleum?
Oh yeah, I'm very excited.
The mausoleum itself has an architectural style very derivative of what the house was, very Gothic in nature. There's the raven motif continues upon this structure. There's almost greenish blue slate roofing pieces across it. There's pillars that were very ornate, decorative pillars rising up, creating this sort of alcove in which a door almost identical in size and decoration to what the front of the manor looked like, that is closed to this mausoleum when you approach it.
Is there a lock that I could pick?
It does have a keyhole. There's no sort of chain or anything like that, but there is a keyhole on the door.
First-
Go ahead.
I just want to check that the door's locked first before I try to pick the lock.
Okay.
As we're walking into this cemetery, I do want to activate my divine sense.
Okay. Your divine sense is, I believe, 60 feet. And
Yes, not behind total cover.
And I'm sorry, I don't have that in front of me. Can you
Oh,
just remind
yeah.
me of the details of that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. As soon as I find it again, because I did something
I want
to
to say
my
it's like
okay.
fiends.
As an action, you can detect good and evil. Until the end of your next turn, you can sense anything affected by the Hallow spell or know the location of any celestial, fiend, or undead within 60 feet. That's not under total cover.
You
Not
do
behind
not
total cover.
you do not sense that this cemetery grounds has been either desecrated or hallowed, and you're not sensing uh any form of undead or anything that seems readily apparent.
Okay.
How are you?
I'll leave it up though.
Okay. How are you, Saja, checking the door?
Is there a handle? Is it a push door? Like, what's the
Picture I picture almost like these ornate curved into the styling like handles that have the lock sort of mechanism, and there's almost like a thumb lever that you would push down on to pull them open.
Okay. I attempt to just go ahead.
I have a way to touch the door magically if you don't want to just touch it on your own in case.
Oh, sure. Go
I
ahead.
don't,
Thank you.
Just in case something's bad with it. I don't want it to hurt you.
No, that's a wonderful idea. Thank you.
So I'll mage hand test the door just in case.
The door, unfortunately, is big enough and heavy enough that your mage hand would not be able to open it. So what does your mage hand look like?
You actually see a spectral dragon claw go and try to open the door. And it grabs a hold of it and starts pulling. The door is impossible to open. It's too heavy. I think we would have to come back with more people or more magic.
I throw a meaningful glance to Akira, the big strong lady.
Yeah, I'll try to pull it open.
Okay. So yeah, you
Okay.
don't need to make a strength check or anything. It's just the door was way too heavy for mage hand's 10-pound limitation.
Mhm.
So I just see this little spectral dragon hand just kind of going to no
I-
avail, just tightening up, and then you just
I
reach out and
Put my hand into the spectral dragon hand so it looks like the hand is doing it.
I'm gonna lean
you-
over to Patricio. She's so strong.
I know she must be famous.
She has to be.
you grab the handle and you pull on it, and you feel the door begin to pull open. But the door doesn't open. What you see instead is, as you pull back, the door handle seems to move away from the door briefly, and then you watch as the door handle shifts from this sort of dark wood color to the exact color of either your skin tone or your if you're wearing gloves or whatever you're holding the door with. The handle seems to kind of spread to match that, and you even see patterns of your armor sort of emerge on the surface of the door, and you can't let go of the door handle.
We have a problem.
Yes.
I'm stuck on this doorknob, and also it might not be an actual door.
Your Kira, your divine sense is still up,
Mm-hmm.
and you begin to feel tingling at your senses behind you in the cemetery around you. All of a sudden, there's a sensation of undead. Just one little bit, and then kind of over here. It's kind of like if divine sense was a was presented in stereo sound, surround sound. You're feeling it come up on this side, and then you're feeling it here, and you all begin to hear the sound of shuffling and this sort of as hands and arms begin pushing up out of the ground from all of the tombstones.
Bigger problem. Bigger problem.
Oh, much bigger
Uh-oh.
problem.
I am sorry, this is probably going to hurt. DM, I'd like to back away from the door and Erkira, and I'd like to cast Vine Whip to try and pull her away.
Okay, great.
Oh, okay.
All right.
So make a melee spell attack. If it hits, the creature takes 1d6 piercing damage. And if they are large or smaller, you pull them 10 feet closer.
Okay. So yeah, go ahead. I'll let you do that. And you can
that's
make oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say that's a 22 to hit.
Oh, that
Okay.
hits.
So roll damage, and you can also make a strength athletics check. Akira.
Okay.
2.
So you take 2 damage from that.
Athletics check. Oh, I only got a 12. Do I get advantage because I have this whip on me?
I would say yes, because Karina is pulling, so it's adding to your ability to pull.
Yeah. That's even worse. So it's just a 12.
You do succeed, Karina, in pulling her towards you, but you actually sort of almost lift from the waist, and her lower body starts to lift as she's pulled even further back. You're kind of pulling her taut as your hand is stuck firmly onto this handle. Here is what you all see. As this starts to unfold, and Berlin, Saja, and Patricio, you're kind of looking around, you're seeing undead zombies and skeletons pulling themselves up from the gravestones, but they're not moving towards you. The the zombies begin to congregate towards one another as you see more and more zombies rising up out of the ground. They start moving into 2 distinct groups that are about maybe 10 feet apart. And very rapidly, these zombies start climbing up, and they continue to climb up one another until these 2 towers of zombies sort of fall together, and they continue climbing up
God.
Oh no.
until there's a massive clot of zombies that is rising
no.
up out of the cemetery. At the same time, the mausoleum seems to elongate, and at the peak of the roof, 2 large eyes open up with
Oh my
smaller eyes next to
God.
it, as the front door in front of you, Akira, opens up sideways and elongates into teeth.
Oh, perfect.
And that
Did
is
you
where
just-
we are going to end this session.
No.
Did you just make a zombie mech? Is that what this is?
The whole
Believe it or
graveyard's
not,
a mimic.
This
This
Oh
is a
my
thing.
god.
the zombies are an actual monster in 5e called a zombie clot.
From Van
Oh my
Richten's
God.
Guide to
They
the
are
Just
Moth.
very
PD
cool.
zombies in a trench coat.
Oh my
Real quick,
God.
DM, as this is happening, would Braylon have enough time to pull out her cannon?
Yes, you all will have time to. This is sort of the
Okay, cool.
camera swirling around the Avengers on the bridge moment, except a couple of you are kind of occupied. One of you is adhered to the mimic. And when we do our next session, we will roll for initiative.
Oh my
Awesome.
god.
Top of that set.
Okay. I'm gonna
So yeah, this is the first session of our dreadful tales. You have all been brought together. You now have you have an understanding, however slim it may be, of what you were brought here for, and you have a couple of people who have at least some semblance of experience with Starwallow and this domain of dread, to give you a little bit of assistance. I hope you all enjoyed this. I've I've had the opportunity to play with everybody here except M. So I'm very looking forward to this. Was fun to get to interact with you, and I'm looking forward to doing a mini arc with all of you. We're going to go ahead and we're going to go around in the same order we started with introductions. Do a quick outro, and then that'll be the end of episode 1. So Fair, start us off.
Hi, I'm Fair. I've been Urkira Storm Slayer, your Oath of Glory paladin, currently stuck to a door. You can follow me on Twitter at Fairbear. Thursday nights you can find me over on the Greater Restoration Crew, 8 p.m. Eastern for Tales of Faerun, a homebrew D&D 5e campaign. Fridays you can find me over on Chaotic Tiefling ATL for Thirsty Sword Lesbians. And Saturdays rather, you can find me over on Rolling D20s, 9 Eastern for Philly by Night, our Vampire the Masquerade campaign. I have some other stuff coming up, so again, follow me on Twitter to know what I'm doing when I'm doing it.
Thank you, M.
Hello, I've been M, and I've been Saja. God, what did I say to Gary? Goth Indiana Jones? That's who I am. I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Emily Irv. That's EMILIERV. You can keep up to date with what I'm doing, see me transform myself into a variety of different people. I am on 20-Sided Stories, Faeforge Academy, Second Star to the Right. And also, I forgot to mention earlier, I am on an Alien miniseries over on the Initiative Order that is starting back up on the 15th of April. All ladies kicking butts in space, so come hang out for that. And I can't wait to return to these mists and fight a bunch of zombies.
April.
Hey everyone, I'm April. You can find me everywhere as April Raygun. What am I doing right now? I have my first campaign that I'm DMing, Strixhaven After the Fall, where we see what happened to Strixhaven after the bad guy almost won. I have Redwall Eulia 5e, which is a Redwall D&D campaign, and a bunch of other stuff. So just follow me on Twitter for all those awesome things.
Robo.
Hello, it's me, RoboGoblin, and I nope to the zombie kaiju, by the way. My name, I was Patricio de la Rosa, and you can find me at TTRP Gifts on Twitter. I'm in a bunch of places this month, but I do want to shout out the Encanto one shot we're gonna have on the 30th of April on my channel, and it's gonna be raising money for Tequeria. And I hope to see you all there. But yeah, that's me.
Fluffy.
Hi, I am Fluffy. I have been Karina Ivanova, the warlock who's only a little druid curious. I can be found on Twitter at Fluffy Snowfall. That's usually where you'll see me. Right now, this is the only thing I got going for me stream-wise. But if anything changes, I'll be sure to post on Twitter.
And I am Jake, aka MTD Jake. I have been your dungeon master, the human storyteller. I have been the Madam Vanessa Mornhill, a clot of zombies, and a mimic mausoleum, among other things. You can find me over on twitch.tv/mini terrain domain, where I run Scribes and Scrolls, the Candlekeep Mysteries on Monday nights, or Dawnbringers, The Wild Beyond the Witchlight, which is our season 6 arc, on Thursday nights. One Wednesday a month, we run our Mythos Investigators. We're getting ready in May with a brand new GM. Carrie from our Scribes and Scrolls has never run a game before in her life, and she's choosing to start with Call of Cthulhu with all of us as her victims. So we'll be doing a Western mythos, a little bit of pulp, a little bit of Western Cthulhu in there. We have Star Wars on Sundays with our friend Neofet, lots of other great things going on over there. And you can catch VODs of all of our past shows over on youtube.com/mini terrain domain. I just want to say once again, a huge thank you to Gary for coordinating all of this. keeping the second arc even really a secret, and everything that was going on with it throughout the first arc, and kind of keeping things just the evil machinations of Puppet Master Gary in the background, leading up to this, and being a part of this. And to everybody who's watching, either live, recorded, VOD, whatever it may be, and of course to these awesome players, I always want to give credit to the amazing humans I get to play this make-believe game with. So thank you so much to Fair, April, Robo, and Fluffy, without whom this would have just been me talking to myself for a couple hours. So with that,
Thank
that's
you,
the end
Jake.
of this Dread Tale.
You.
Until next time.